if you follow the recipe over there, you should have been okay today, right? You should have at least known like how to proceed. If you made a mistake, that's a totally different story. There we go. Most of us are gonna probably, or maybe you're gonna save up all the entire amount you need to get to buy that car. But right, many people cannot afford to buy a vehicle outright, so they borrow the money from a lending institution, so a bank, right? And you pay it back over time. You need to understand that the bank charges interest, which is essentially their profit, right? Interest is the profit. It's the bank's profit. And I think that one you understand. You've heard interest. You kind of know what it is, most likely. But today I'm going to actually go in depth. I hope you're going to understand a little bit better. So I'm going to have my 3 highlighters ready to go here. I have green, red, purple. There you go. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about total principal, total interest, and total paid to the bank. Notice the emphasis on total. And then we're going to zoom into just a payment. We're going to just zoom into each individual payment that you're making. And in this course, we only do monthly payments, even though in reality it could be bi-weekly, it could be semi-monthly, you name it, right? We're just focusing on monthly. So here we go. The total principal is what is the amount of loan you were given by the bank. This will need to be repaid in full. Make sure you don't skip on your payments. This is on page 24, right? This will need to be repaid in full. We call this the loan, or TP, for total principal. Okay. So I'm gonna highlight things after I fill this in. Okay. Total interest. This is the finance charge. You need to be comfortable with the wording, right? Finance charge. So somewhere on your study sheet, maybe when you have total interest, also know it as finance charge or the cost of borrowing. Sometimes students mix up, right? This is a dollar amount. So is the total interest you pay. It's actually a dollar amount. Don't mix that up with interest rate, which is going to come later. Okay, that's a dollar amount. Total paid to the bank, also a dollar amount. Right? The sum of the total principal and the total interest. So if you combine these two, right? If you combine them two, that is what you paid the bank in total. Okay. I will put on top of this or somewhere here total paid to the bank. I'm going to have a formula for this TPB, so make sure you add that. So TP for total principal, TI, and total paid to the bank. Okay. So here's where the highlighting starts, right? So the total principal, I use green, right? The total principal is right here. Okay. Then we have the total interest. I use a red highlighter. And the total paid to the bank, I use purple. That is this one right here. So I want you to see that these two components make up the total paid to the bank. And let's add that again. Total paid to the bank. It doesn't hurt repeating things, okay? So that's TPB here. We're going to call this total principal. And we're going to call this TI. So I need you to understand that when you take out a loan, which is this green part here, this chunk, you're always going to pay back more than what you borrowed, right? Because the bank needs to make money, right? So this is the loan. You pay back a bigger chunk. We can probably put under here loan as well. It's the same thing. The total principal is also the loan. Okay. Now I want to zoom into just a payment. So if you talk about the monthly payment, which I call PMT, your bank will determine the monthly payment, which stays fixed, right? This is an important, I just use my regular highlighter for that one. A payment, right? The payment stays fixed. It doesn't change. Once they tell you on that document and you sign it, somewhere on that document it will say pay this much a month, okay? Until the loan is repaid in full. The payment is blended. You should understand blended is when you mix things, right? Which means that part of it is interest and part of it is principal. Okay. See the illustration below. To distinguish the monthly principal is called lowercase p, while the monthly interest is called lowercase I. Do you remember I equals PRT from grade 11? Some of you might like, that's easy to remember, I party, right? For some of you that applies, some of you maybe it doesn't apply, but anyways. So when it's just the monthly, maybe I'll highlight that part. Yeah, the monthly principal is P, lowercase p, okay? While the monthly interest is called I, lowercase I. So we almost, right? You're like, wait a minute, you already talked about principal and interest, Mr. Dirksen. There's total principal, total interest here, and now you're talking lowercase. What's going on there? If you zoom into a payment, so imagine this is just one of your payments going to the bank. It's coming off your checking account. It's gone. We don't necessarily see this breakdown, but every payment has a little bit of principal. A chunk of it goes towards paying off your loan. A chunk of it goes towards their profit. So it's almost like every single month, some of your payment goes towards bringing this bar down, and some of your payment goes towards their pocket, which over time will be considering the total interest. Right? So here we go. Payment is equal to lowercase p plus, can you do a plus here? Lowercase I. And I will add formulas here for you. I is equal to P R T. These are multiplying. P times rate times time to get just the principal, just this principal amount. Let's see if you follow me here on a Monday morning. To get the principal, just this chunk, we would have to take the payment. Let's see if you follow this, and subtract what from it? Payment minus I, right? Because you always know these two add up to your payment. Right? And I'm just going to leave it at that. These are important formulas. And remember, when I box things in, they're important. Let's keep going a little bit, and then I'll show you something that I find hopefully is going to help you. What's the term of the loan? The amount of time it takes to pay off the loan. Most banks will allow up to 5 years for used vehicles and up to 7 years for new vehicles. Okay, so a bank usually doesn't go higher than 5 if it's a used vehicle. If it's a brand new, the dealership works with banks, and they give you up to 7 years, 84 months, right? So this is 5 times 12 is 60 months, right? Most loans, if they're monthly, right, they'll say, hey, it's going to take 60 months versus 7 years. You'd go 7 times 12. That's 84 months, right? So here we go. this got punched out here, but I think it's okay. The interest rate, which is what we call the lowercase r, the bank will charge a posted interest rate, which is stated as a percentage. It is always stated as a percentage when it's the interest rate. It's the rate, right? We convert this to a decimal by dividing the number by 100. So example, you need to make sure you understand this. Some students miss this. It's like, hey, R, my formula calls for R, and this is my rate. So I'm just gonna plug it in as is. Nope, always go 5.75 divided by 100, which turns out to be 0.0575, okay? This is, you gotta make sure when you work with it, you want it as a decimal, okay? Nice and easy right now. I'm trying to go slow. If I go fast, you can always look it over later on. Let's try to understand interest. So this might overwhelm you a little bit. Hang in there. I'm going to do more examples, okay? This is just my first go at it, my first swing at it. I will just show you something that you always in life should just know that this is available to you. If you ever want to figure out what your payments would be for a loan, you look up, I don't know, a payment calculator of some sort. Just Google it. Sometimes you have an app even for it, right? And then you enter how much are you going to borrow, how long are you going to take to borrow it, and what the interest rate is, and you hit calculate, and it will just calculate that for you, right? And also tell you what your liver disease, maybe you have a liver disease, you know, you never know. But this is the one that I'm going to zoom in on today. This is the one that a lot of, we just like, oh, can I afford that payment, right? 860, right? But you're paying it off over a year, so it's quite the short term, right? But watch this. This is what I want to focus in on. That this is the schedule that breaks down every payment, right? How much you start off with. Each payment is always broken down into lowercase p and lowercase I. What do you think these two add up to right now? Let's do some mental math. $50 and 810.66. What does that add up to? 860.66. What was my payment again? 860.66. So the first payment, your very first payment ever, only 810 out of that 860 is going to go towards paying off your loan. And the 50, where does that go? Bank says, thank you very much. I'll just shave off a little bit of that payment. Thank you very much, right? And then next month comes along, you owe a little bit less, right? They recalculate the interest, and whoa, it was 50 the first payment, now it's only 45. What happened? You owe a little less. So out of that payment of 860, this is going to be the breakdown. What do you think these two numbers will add up to? Any guesses? I know you're whispering it, right? But I'm going to add up those two, and there it is. It's 860.66. So every single payment, look as you go along the loan, right? These two add up to that payment. So some of you have seen this already, and some of you know what I'm talking about. But that's what I'm going to be doing here on paper. So let's work through this. Let's assume you buy a car for 12 grand, but you have saved up 2 grand for a down payment. So that means that how much are you going to have to borrow? 10 grand. I use nice round numbers so it sticks out, right? So you need to finance 10 grand. That's going to be what we call the loan. Okay? That's what we call a loan. Over 12 months at 6% per annum. What is that weird Latin word there? That is saying per year. Yeah. or annually, whatever, per year, right? Our monthly payment will be $860.66. I used an online calculator, but this is now a fixed amount. That doesn't change. That's how much you're going to have to pay every month. So fill in the following. Total paid to the bank. You will have paid $860.66, right? Over how many months? 12, right? I'm going to go like this. You're going to feel like, what are you doing, right? I'm going to go 1 year times 12 months. Because 1 year times 12 months is what? It's 12 months, right? Because later we're going to do 4 years, 5 years, and so forth. So that is, if you do the math here, just copy it for now, because I think you know how this goes, right? So if you paid them $860.66 every month, over 12 months, you will have paid back $10,327. You see how you pay back more? You took out 10 grand, you paid out this much. You can tell how much interest was charged, right? The total interest. Total principal paid. What would this number be? The total principal paid. It's the 10 grand. It's your 10 grand loan. No surprises there. Total interest paid. I'm going to take the 10,327.92 and subtract the amount I borrowed, right? And so this is the total interest I've paid right now. So let's fill in this bar here. Total paid to the bank, $10,327.92. Out of that loan, right, $10,000 was the total principal that I borrowed, and the $327.92 is what the finance charge, right? Finance charge. Make sure you understand that. Sometimes I have that in my ACs and students ask me, what is finance charge? It's just the total interest. Okay. Zoom into the first payment here. We're going to zoom into just one payment now. This bar should have been a lot bigger than this one. I know that, right? Technically, if you were to draw this to scale. Zoom into the first payment. Watch this. The monthly payment, we already calculated, $860.66. Watch this one. Interest paid on the first month. I told you already earlier, did you see that? It was $50. How did I calculate that, you might ask? Let's do that on the side here. I equals PRT. I is equal to principal, which is 10 grand. What's my interest rate? 6%, right? Which is 0.06. And what is time in this case? It's just the first month, not the whole year. So time is really 1/12. So what we do is we just go ahead and divide everything by 12. Because we just want the first month. So I don't know if you want to grab your calculator, maybe you just want to watch this. So 10,000 times 0.06 divided by 12. Oops, there's the $50. That's how you would have normally calculated it without me telling you ahead of time. So that's how we got that $50. So let's fill this in for now. This we know is $860.66 because it's just one payment. We know that this is $50 here. So it stands to reason that we should be able to figure this part out by just going principal, which is the payment, minus lowercase I. Okay. So we're just going to take the 860.66 minus 50. So this is supposed to be 810.66. There we go. This is the number that goes into that chunk, right? So the first month has principal here, interest here. Let's see if you can follow me here. Let's also put this here, 810.66. So you always got to understand that lowercase p and lowercase I, they add up to your payment, and total principal as well as total interest add up to the total paid to the bank. Maybe I'm overdoing this a little bit, but I need you to understand. I want you to understand. Einstein said, "Whoever understands interest, right, will actually be more successful in investment, right? If you understand how interest works." Here's the breakdown, the amortization schedule. This is on page 26. Not if you've heard that term before in grade 11 essential. If you do like a table, right? Your teacher should have filled this in, and if you forgot everything about it, you're in good hands. I'll teach you everything again, right? That's just how I roll. So you got to understand this, that this is lowercase I and this is lowercase p. When you do one of these, when you do fill this in, because every month is broken down into both components. These two add up to your payment every time, which is in this case 860.66. Doesn't matter which month you zoom into, that's going to be your breakdown. I didn't do this on my original notes. Maybe I'll just leave it. It'll get too messy. But really, how did the 10,000 get to this number here? Right? It went 10,000 minus this and brought it down, right? And then this number comes back here. They calculate the interest. Then they take this number again from the starting amount, and that's how much you drop every month in this case. So keep that in mind. What else do I have here? Oh, you want to know what else is cool? This here, this gives you the total interest. If you were to add up every month, you get the total interest, correct? Okay, and what do you think that should add up to? I actually checked. I did this by hand. What is the total interest? We determined that already. Flip over to the previous page. 327. You see that number? If I hate to disappoint you, what was that number on the back side? 90 what? 92? I hate to disappoint you. This is 96. 327.96. And it is a rounding issue. Okay? The banks round every month to 2 decimals, right? And when we do the formula, we use all decimals throughout the 12 months. So it's a little off, but I think we can handle it, right? You can, absolutely. Total, what would this add up to, you think? That's the total principal. This right here is the total principal. And that actually adds up to, watch this, it should be 10,000, right? It adds up to 9,999.96. Right, so it's a little, you paid 4 cents less than what you, and the principal there, right? But these two add up to the TI and the TP add up to what we call total paid to the bank. Okay, and that adds up to 10,327.92. Right, that is still true here. One thing that is not true, please watch carefully. Some students say, oh, if it's $50 that I paid the first month, no problem, Mr. Dirksen. How much did I pay in total in interest? 50 times 12 months, $600 in interest, right? Not true, because every month you owe a little bit less. So you actually have to recalculate this for every month. Okay, so common mistake there. I know I want to dive into the math just like, so today's is going to be an understanding more than anything. But watch this. If you were to take every single month and graph it and the dollar amount, every single payment is $860.66. Can you do this? I know come on guys, I'm not doing that. I gave you the booklet already, so I think you can handle this. Right? So every single bar represents 860.66. Copy paste, right? Be nice. You're the first group that doesn't have to actually graph the bars. So you're welcome, right? And I was gonna fill in every single number in every single box, but I'm just gonna give up on that. That's gonna be too much work. But let's do it for the first bar. The first payment, $810.66, goes towards principal, and $50. I'm gonna try to get that in there. $50 go towards interest. If you can do this much, I'd appreciate that. But do you notice that lowercase I gets smaller every month, right? Until the end, you're almost paying no interest. Watch this. The last month is $428 in interest. Most of your payment goes towards paying off your loan. What if it's your birthday, right? It's your birthday, and you are a month number 8, and somebody gives you $500. You have a choice. You can go blow it, right? Spend it on whatever you want. Or you can go to the bank and say, hey, can you put $500 towards my loan? I owe $3,400 right here. What would happen to those $500 if you give them $500? Would some of that go to interest, or would all of it go towards paying off your loan? I'm interested to see if you would know what happens in that case. It's actually all of it goes towards principal. Because they calculated this month, right? 2120 goes towards interest. That's it. If you come in with $500, they will take the entire $500 off of your owing balance. So if you have chunks here and there that you can put towards it, it's actually very productive. It makes your balance go down a lot quicker. And you'll obviously pay it off in less than 12 months, correct? If I come in with $500 here, you're now going to owe $500 less, right? So you might actually shave off a whole payment towards the end. And so if you keep doing lump sum payments, you go for it. Because time is running low, we're probably not going to do any examples today, but watch this. One more thing here. You know what you can do if you feel like it? This is what I did with my loans. You make a second payment. You tell your bank, set up a second payment. Don't copy this one down because it's gonna mess up things for you. Just listen here. Put up a second payment, please. And I would like to pay $100 a month every month on top of what I'm already paying, which is $860. So it'd be, this is payment number 1. I come along, set up payment number 2, please. And every month it's $860 plus $100, $860 plus $100, $860 plus $100. This entire second payment goes towards paying off your loan. You don't pay any interest there. And so you actually save I started my loan with a 5-year loan. With the extra payment, I'm only paying it off in 3.5 years. So it's pretty cool. It's more than 100. I think mine is like an extra 150, but it doesn't matter. Let's say you're running tight on money. You're buying something that needs to be bought. You can't make the second payment. One email or a phone call, you tell them, can you please cancel this payment? No problem. Not a problem at all, because they just want to make sure you pay your minimum. This is the minimum you need to pay, right? If you make that second payment, you can cancel anytime. You can pause it anytime and then bring it back when you have more money, right? So this is, you can make additional payments or lump sum payments, right? Yeah. It doesn't actually, as long as you pay on time. Your credit, your credit is actually not going to be affected if you only pay the minimum. Same with a credit card. It doesn't improve your credit. I don't know. It's weird. It sounds weird, but it doesn't improve your credit. Not paying, that's bad, right? Not paying or not being able to meet this, that's bad, right? Um, shouldn't have said pack already, but I think we've done enough of these. But this is just if you actually go with the bank with their calculation, this is slightly off. So this is total interest, total principal, and this is total paid to the bank. I think that's it for today. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of formulas tomorrow. But it is all like, okay, I need to make sure you understand. Formulas, to me, if you don't understand why we use those formulas, it doesn't mean much to me, because I can throw a curveball at you and the formulas need to change a little bit accordingly, okay? So understand what's happening here and you'll be in good hands. So for tomorrow, I'll just stop the video here.